Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Bows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. Rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds, illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel when every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. Leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost and something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
I wanted to sing that song as an opening for this portion of our Path with Heart. It is entitled The War Within, and basically what it is the things that go on within us. In this particular song, I've known it for 45 years. I don't even want to even guess, at least that long. But it's about how our viewpoints and our perspectives change with experience and with time. And what we once thought doesn't always serve all the way, you know? It changes and morphs as we change and morph. And so the thing of it is that we are always in a sort of like a flow of conflict and of changing ideas and of conflicting thoughts and feelings. And we can live very much in that conflict, or we can find a way to allow it to be all right without resisting it, and allow ourselves to be at peace even while we are changing, even while we are learning. You know, this isolation that we've been in practicing this past year, it's promoted greater identification, I think, with our internal thoughts and our feelings. I think that the illusions and fears that we have, the insecurities, the self-consciousness, the lack of self-worth, sometimes, you know, the feelings of despair can come up, of loss and anger and addiction and all kinds of things that were sort of in the shadow or underneath can definitely arise when we really don't have the feedback from the outer world the way we're used to. And it makes us, I think, more inward. And sometimes that's a good thing, because we can become more reflective, we can become more aware, more time to observe the world and ourselves in it. It can also become self-destructive if we turn our attack thoughts on ourselves, and if we use our deeper reflection and our focus on ourselves to be negative and harmful or hurtful. It's up to us, and we need to find balance, and we need people from the outside. So no matter whether you can be in person, please keep your networks healthy. Keep calling, keep reaching out, and allow yourself to get the feedback and the perspective of the people who know you best and who love you, and believe them. That's the other thing. There's been political and social justice issues that have been claiming a lot of our attention collectively, and particularly in the light of the pandemic and its solutions. So we're seeing also that a lot of that consternation that we may be feeling internally, we see it out in our society as well. These are not normal times. And so there is a lot of uncertainty and a lot of churning and a lot of things that were underground that have come up to the surface to be revealed, to be enlightening us, and for us to come together and decide how we want to live. How do we want to be? In A Path with Heart, Jack Kornfield says, "The unawakened mind tends to make war against the way things are." In other words, whatever comes at us, and no matter how we're feeling, and no matter what we're observing, and no matter what happens or doesn't, what we expect or what we don't expect, however it is, our minds, unless we are really conscious and paying attention, they make war on all the things that aren't right, aren't good, aren't the way they're supposed to be, not the way they used to be, the good old days. How many times have we heard that? The good old days. I'm like, I'm not sure all my days were all that good, but I think that, you know, that we have this nostalgia sometimes for what was safe and what we knew and what we understood, and maybe we knew our place, or we knew the way things were, and of course, it's always, you know, retrospection is 2020. I don't mean the year, but of course it could be the year. And in this case, it's easier to be able to look at and sift through the things you liked about it and look for those things here, and then find here wanting. And that's what our minds will do. Jack Kornfield's teacher, Ajahn Chah, described the battle this way. He says, "We human beings are constantly in combat, at war to escape the fact of being so limited by so many circumstances we cannot control. But instead of escaping, We continue to create suffering, waging war with good, waging war with evil, waging war with what is too small, waging war with what is too big, waging war with what is too short or too long or right or wrong, courageously carrying on the battle in ourselves. Can you hear the judgment spinning around? Arbitrary judgment. We have good reasons, but you know what? Science tells us that most of our decisions, most of our decisions that we make are not based on rational thought. It's based on emotional connection. That we have a knee-jerk or an automatic emotional reaction to things that we choose. And if someone asks you, why did you choose that? We come up with 5 good reasons, don't we? And we can think of, well, because I used to do it this way, mainly because I hadn't thought of it until you asked me. And now I go back and I say, yeah, how did I come up with that? Oh, I know. These are the reasons. I'm so logical, and I'm so clinical, I'm so Spock-like, you know. I wasn't just reacting. And the deal is that we're so very often in a mishmash of swirling emotions and thoughts and insecurities and feelings that it's hard to always find the center, always find the place where we actually are. Buddhists refer to conditions, every condition, outside of us as well as inside of us, the conditions of my momentary experience, of yours, right now where you are. This is what is. It's neither right nor wrong. It's neither good nor bad. It is only what it is. And in becoming more and more accepting of how things are, of how they are and how I am, and stop fighting it, I have a much greater chance of being able to change the things I want to change when I realize what it is that I'm working with. But as long as I keep doing individual battles with this thought or with that feeling or with that, if I keep having it, I live in constant turmoil and uncertainty and insecurity. And I'm emotionally reactive because I'm not in my center and I can't find it with both hands, right? Cornfield says, we expend enormous energy denying our insecurity, fighting pain, death, and loss, and hiding from the basic truths of the natural world and of our own being. He says, he doesn't say this, I say this. The problem is not the problem. It's not the problem we think it is. That's not the problem. The problem is that I think there's a problem. You get that? If I spent a little bit more time simply being okay, just simply being accepting and aware, this is how I am today. This is what I chose to wear. This is how my hair looks. This is how much I weigh, you know? It's like this is, ta-da, it. And in this moment, it's neither right nor wrong, good or bad. It's just the way things are right now. And if I want to make changes, I have agency to do that, but I can't fight every single detail constantly, feeling bad about myself and punishing myself. I can make no progress, and I can't ever feel at peace or feel good about anything. And if I do, it's a moment before my mind found something else to drag me back down with. What brings us anxiety, anger, despair, pain is our resistance to what is, first and foremost. It isn't the thing itself. It's not making us feel that way. It's my decision, my choice, my own thought about what is lacking or missing or wrong about how things are. And I know you're arguing with me because you're pointing out all the things that you know you're naming, right? I can hear you. You didn't know that, did you? It's like, this is a two-way thing. But this live streaming, yeah, it's live streaming. It's not television. It's live streaming. So I can hear what you're thinking. Why? Because I think those things too. I'm not saying that everything is fair or right and in no need of change. But everything is as it can be right now. It is the summation of all decisions and choices made to this point, whether it's external, communal, or whether it's internal and singular. Whatever the decisions and choices are, this is how it is. Can I just be with it for a moment? Can I just be here before I start picking it all apart and just throwing out things arbitrarily, honestly? This situation, the conditions are not the best they can be. They're not even the way they should be necessarily. Maybe, not even the best it can ever be. But to make things right means we need to see them right. And that's different. Listen, this is what Jesus says. He always said, truly I tell you. That was one translation. Actually, what he was saying, hey, folks, listen. He was saying, listen to this. This is the truth. Write this down. Matthew, write this down. If you do not see things as they are, you cannot be part of the change for the better. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you're not noticing this thing or that thing that bothers you, and you're assuming that everything else that's not this is okay. You're not paying any attention to that, but you got your attention on this thing. This is the problem. If you just could fix this, then everything would be okay. That isn't how it works. Nothing's ever going to be okay. Because even if you fix this, or eliminate it, or give it away, or whatever, something else will take its place because your mind is constantly searching for the outlier, constantly searching for the thing, the problem to solve. Because somehow we're getting feedback on that. We're getting a positive hit on that. That somehow we're noble or virtuous or taking care of business or keeping things under control, and nobody's going to know the truth about me if I just keep this thing out of the way. If you don't see things as they are, you can never change things for the better. And when I say change things for the better, not with your laundry list of what is wrong, that series of moving chess pieces. I'm not saying, okay, today I'm going to I figured it all out, I know what's wrong, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to get going on this stuff. What we tend to do is we tend to spar either with the people in our lives or with the things in our lives, like chess pieces on a board, that I make a move, you make a move, or the universe makes a move, and I make a move, and then but it's transactional when I'm acting like that in the world. Because what's really happening is I'm still in conflict. I'm at war all the time. I'm always trying to one up or get something different or better or more. But what I'm really doing is always reacting, always reacting, always reacting. I think I'm acting, but I'm not. I think I'm fixing or changing, but I'm not. I'm in transaction with the things that are at the same level. You can't solve a problem at the same level it's been created at. You have to rise up. And when you rise up, you see something in context. You see the wholeness of it. You see something more than just the next move on the chessboard. You see where it might just fit in the big scheme of things, that it might actually be on its way to changing, to becoming something else, because a lot of things are in process. You're in process, I'm in process. The world is in process. Everything is changing and evolving. Whether we interfere with it or not, whether we participate in it consciously or not. When you can see the greater context, using the light of the one fundamental truth, that we are one, that we're all connected, that everything is all connected, and that I think it's you, but I keep forgetting that you are a part of me, and that I'm a part of you. And then everything changes, you see? The real power resides not in our minds, but in our hearts. If you take nothing else away tonight, just place your hand on your heart. This is the seat of your wisdom, of your understanding. This is the place that opens or closes. When you think of someone or something that is bothering you right now, whatever it is, a condition that is troubling you, you can feel, can you not feel? I can feel it already, a constriction coming down. It closes down a little bit. You can feel it getting heavy, prickly. There may be a number of ways you would describe it. Heavy, hot, heated up, compacting, contracting. It's closing. It's your heart closing. It's not made to close. It does close to protect, but it shouldn't stay that way. It's made to open. And breathing and letting go and embracing. Now think of someone you love, someone you care for, someone that you want to embrace right now. As you think of that person, you can already feel their presence, and you can feel your heart getting spacious and open, right? This is how you change. This is how you begin to move and begin to identify with others and with the conditions and situations outside of you. What we are drawn to is what will draw us into greater engagement, not what we're propelled against. That's not how we change things. We can only change from a place of openness and receptivity, of collaboration, of moving toward a vision of something greater or better, not against something that oughtn't be here, something that needs fixing or pushing away. We don't have to eliminate things to use their energy to create something more, especially when we realize it's all part of us already. So what are you drawn to, as opposed to what you're pushing away? Only your heart can answer that question. Napoleon Bonaparte, not the most evolved guy on the planet, and I'm not going to give you a surprise quote that indicates that he got, a spiritual awakening. I'm not saying he didn't. I don't know him that well. But I will tell you that at the end of his life, this was his observation. He said, "Do you know what astonishes me the most about the world? The inability of force to create anything. In the long run, the sword is always beaten by spirit." When he's referring to spirit, he means the spirit, that ineffable element, that part of a person. It's not the sword they wield, but the spirit that they carry, or that I carry with a sword, if that's the case. Sword is a tool, but it can only destroy, can't create. What is created comes from deep within us. And it does that in collaboration, in harmony, in using the energies of what is. Cornfield says when we let go of our battles and open our heart to things as they are, then we come to rest in the present moment. The present moment, this is key. He says this is the beginning and the end of spiritual practice. The present moment, that was always the goal. If you got a goal for your spiritual practice, you may think it's levitation, you may think it's meditating for an hour, you may think it's, changing a bad habit or opening your mind to something new or whatever. You may think it's all those things. Spiritual practice is really the repetition of waking up and being present now. And now, and here, and this moment, and feel, and present. You see? That's what spiritual practice is. Over, 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 over again. He says only in this moment we can discover that which is timeless. In other words, when we're busy doing battle, we are nowhere near being centered enough to be able to feel the timeless pulse of the infinite, to be present in this moment that really has no time in it. There's no time here in this, in that. Now. Only here we can find the love that we seek. Love in the past is simply memory, and love in the future is a fantasy. Only in the reality of the present can we love, he says. Can we awaken? Can we find peace and understanding and connection with ourselves and with the world? The present is pivotal. It means everything. To be present in this moment, right now. It's the only place you can make a new choice. You can't re-choose yesterday. You can't choose tomorrow. The best planning in the world. Set your alarm. You can't choose tomorrow. Now. Now what will you think? What will you hold? What will you be? Cornfield says to stop the war and come into the present is to discover a greatness of our own heart that can include the happiness of all beings as inseparable from our own. This remembrance that we are one with everyone, even those we despise, even those we fear, even those we do not want to let into our house. It's okay. You can have boundaries, but you recognize that you are not separated from the deepest part of you to the deepest part of them. Not their behavior, but to the deepest, truest purity of them, in the depths of them. Bell Hooks, an activist, says, the moment we choose to love, we begin to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and liberate others. Cornfield said, compassion and a greatness of heart arise whenever we stop the war. It is possible to stop the war and come into the timeless present, to touch a great ground of being that contains all things. Doesn't that sound like meditation? What if you were aware of that with your eyes open? What if you were aware of that walking down the street or driving? That would be a good idea. If you had your eyes open and you were aware, in this moment, not just of driving, but of how you feel driving, how you feel in this living moment. You're driving your car. You're here. What does that feel like? What does that open you up to? What do you begin to notice? How do you begin to feel? How connected are you? How relaxed are you in this present moment? Not worried, planning, thinking, regretting, hatching a plan, remembering I've got to do this when I get over there. I don't know how much we're driven by our planners, right? By our schedules. Krishnamurti said, nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul, or yours, or ours together. In the depths, in the deep, deep, deep drop into the greatness of our hearts, there is a quiet, solid foundation of peace. It's never affected by anything. It's not changed by your thoughts. It will change you in the present moment. Only then can you feel it. Make that your spiritual practice. God bless you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.